song with me. Everybody knows it. You are my sunshine. Does everybody sing? You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamed I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. So I hung my head and I cried. Everybody, you are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Please don't take my sunshine away. Thank you much.
All right, let's give it up for our pickers. I think they do an awesome job. Up here, once again, Joe Rowe.
Hello, I'm Johnny Cash. I hear the train a-comin', it's rolling around the bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on. But that train keeps a-rolling on down to San Antone. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy, don't ever play with guns. But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. When I hear that whistle blowing, I hang my head and cry. Do it. I bet there's rich folks eating from a fancy dining car. They're probably drinking coffee and smoking big cigars. Well, I know I had it coming. I know I can't be free. But that punch will keep it moving, and that's what tortures me. Freed me from this prison, if that railroad train was mine, I bet I'd move it on a little farther down the line, far from Folsom Prison. That's where I want to stay, and I'll let that lonesome whistle blow my blues away. Every night you go to bed crying. There's nothing left to do when love is dying. So before the whole world knows how it's hurt, It's time we pull the curtain. So many times I talked you out of leaving, and so many times you tried to fight the feeling. I guess we tried and failed once too often. Now the suitcase down the hallway does the talk. That just about does it. Don't. That'll just about kill. Maybe we should call a truce. We could, but what's the use? That just about does it. Don't. It's sad to think that words could come between us, and what I said, God knows I didn't mean it. It's time we realize this time it's over. It's tearing us apart to stay together, and that just about does. Don't. That'll just about kill. Won't. Maybe we should call it. We could, but what's the use? That just about does it. Don't. Maybe we should call it. We could, but what's the use? That just about does it. Don't. All right. Welcome to my world. Won't you come on in? Miracles, I guess, still happen now and then. Step into my heart. Leave your cares behind. Welcome to my world, filled with you in mind. Knock and the door will open. Seek and you will find. Ask and you will be given a key to this world of mine. I'll be waiting here with my arms unfurled. for you. Welcome to my world. Welcome to for you. Welcome to my world.
All right, let's give it up for Joe. What a wonderful job.
This commercial's a big one. We want to thank Copper Mountain Solar. Yay. They own and operate nearly 2,400 megawatts of renewable generating capacity fueled by sun and wind. This generates power for nearly 600,000 homes and businesses. Wow. Copper Mountain Solar believes fostering strong relationships is a fundamental to running a business. We agree. We just want to give you a big shout out. You've been a big support of the Senior Center and the city. Thank you so much, Copper Mountain Solar.
Good afternoon, everyone. How you doing out there? Somebody make some noise. All right. It's beautiful out here in Boulder City here. Just a beautiful place. I want to say thanks for everybody coming out and sharing this wonderful day. My name is David Prescott, Mr. Melody. And I am the man with many, many voices. Ah, I see people picking their glasses up and I see who this gentleman is. I love it. And I'm going to be singing some songs for you. I hope you really enjoy. And my first song is by Bobby Caldwell called What You Won't Do. And in Purposes for Love. Can you hear the music out there? I guess you wonder where I've been. I searched to find a love within. I came back to let you know. Got a thing for you, and I can't let go. My friends wonder what is wrong with me. When I'm in a daze from your love, you see. I came back to let you know. Got a thing for you, and I can't let go. Some people go around the world for love, and they never find what they dream of. What you won't do for love. You tried everything, but you won't give up. Hey, in my world, only you make me do for love what I wouldn't mind doing. Some people go around the world for love. once again. Come on. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. All right. You like that music right there? How's it feel? Did you like that? Well, I've got another nice song for you by the great Lou Rawls. All right now. It's called You Never Find. Let's show some more love for Mr. Lou Rawls. Let's put your hands together for this gentleman here. Someone who loves you tender like I do. You never find, as long as you live, someone who cares about you the way I do. Oh, I'm not bragging on myself, baby. I'm the one who loves you, and there's no one else. No one else. You never find another love like mine. Someone who needs you, oh, tender like I do. Understands you the way I do. Oh, I'm not trying to make you stay, baby, but there's no if or buts on lady. You are gonna miss my loving, gonna miss my love. You're gonna miss my love. Late in the midnight hour, baby, when it gets cold outside, I know you're gonna miss my love. You never find someone who needs you the way I do. You never see what you find in me. You keep searching and searching your whole life through. Oh, I don't wish you no bad luck, baby, but there's no if or buts for me, you are gonna miss my loving, and gonna miss my love, gonna miss my love. Oh, 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 oh. Late in the midnight hour, baby, hey. I know you're gonna miss my love. That's all right. Now here's a tribute to the great Stylistics. If you know the Stylistics, somebody make some noise out there. There's a spark of pleasure in your eyes. Can be land appears each time you smile. Never thought that fairy tales came true, but they come true when I'm for a genie in the skies, full of wondering surprise. That's like I've been wild. You're the one that I've been waiting for forever. And ever will my love for you keep growing strong, keep growing strong. You are everything, and everything is you. Today I saw somebody who looked just like you. She walked like you do. I thought it was you. As she turned the corner, I called out her name. I felt so ashamed when it wasn't you. Was it you? Oh, 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 oh. You are everything, and everything is you. Oh, you are everything, and everything is you. Oh, you are everything to me. Hey. All right now, you know this song right here? Mustang Sally. Guess you better slow your Mustang down. That's what I say now. Mustang Sally now, baby. Guess you better slow your Mustang down. Oh, you feel it, don't you? You'll be riding all over town now. Oh, guess you better sit yourself down. Woo! I need y'all to sing this part with me. This part right here. All you wanna do is ride around Sally now. All you wanna do is ride around Sally. All you wanna do is ride around Sally now. You've been running all over town now. Oh, guess you better put your feet back on the ground. Oh, that's what I say. Check this out. I brought you a brand new Mustang, a 1965. All you wanna do is say goodbye, woman. You don't wanna let me ride. Mustang Sally now, baby. Woo! Guess you better slow your Mustang down. hear what I'm saying? You didn't hear that. You've been riding all over town. Woo! Oh, guess you better put your feet back on the ground. Now I need you to help me out right here. You ready? All you wanna do is ride around Sally now. Ride, Sally, ride. All you wanna do is ride around Sally. Ride, Sally, ride. Oh, somebody give these gentlemen applause right here. Ride, Sally, ride. All you wanna do is ride around Sally. Nice voice. How's everybody over here? Oh, guess you better put your feet back on the ground. Woo! You like that? I got a great song coming up next. I'm really gonna remember here. Woo, woo, woo. She said, this gentleman said, hey, you're a sweetheart. What's your name? Barbara. Somebody give Barbara applause over here. Oh, beautiful. Somebody say Mustang Sally. All right now. Got a great song coming up. Let's see if you remember this song here. Girl I'm going to ask you this question. Where were you at when this song came out? But I'm not going to ask what you were doing. Because this show is rated G. Anyways, just having a little fun here. Anyways, well, whatever you were doing, let the song roll on. Let the song roll. Let the song roll on. Can you come out tonight? Tell her everything is alright. Why don't you come out tonight with honey? Everything is alright. Why don't you come out with your dress on? Not so fine. You're doing nice, easy. Girl, you'll make me lose my mind. Cherry baby, cherry baby. Yes, what a wonderful song. Ladies and gentlemen, give yourself a wonderful applause for just waking up to see another beautiful day and just, how about that? The Jersey Boys. Now, if you'd like to have us hear one more song, I'd sing it for you. Would you like that? One more song. Now, this is a great song by the great Smokey Robinson. Been around a long time, writing beautiful songs for Motown. And he wrote the song for those baby. I did you wrong, my heart went for love. But in the end, I lost you. What a price to pay. I'm crying. whole thing. Thank you so much. That was my last song. I really hope you enjoyed and enjoy the rest of the day and this evening and all the days and months and years to come. Thank you so much. My name is David Prescott, Mr. Melody. I have my cards. I'm going to give out some cards and everything. So if you want to get in touch, hey, it's going to be beautiful, okay? Thank you so much.
Mr. Melody.
We have Finley Toyota, who has been a major sponsor at our first Rock and Roll Stroll and who is a very major sponsor at this Rock and Roll Stroll. We just like to give Finley a big thank you. And Finley is one of the foremost to provide Las Vegas and Boulder City and neighboring cities with quality service. They are a preferred dealer among car shoppers. They participate in many fundraisers and community activities. Finley has been like a family to me. We have been with Finley for years and totally have accepted. They have been so great for us. So I'd just like to give them a personal thank you.
Great, great. Hold me close. Make me thrill. Make me know.
It's lonely tonight, and the feeling just got right for a brand new love song. Somebody done somebody wrong. Hey, won't you play another somebody done somebody wrong song? It makes me feel at home. Well, I miss my baby. Well, I miss my baby. So play
baby. Well, I miss my baby. So play for me a sad melody. So sad that it makes everybody cry. Heard the song about love that's gone wrong, 'cause I don't wanna cry all alone. Hey, won't you play another somebody done somebody wrong song that makes me feel at home? Well, I miss my baby. Well, I miss my baby. Won't you play another somebody done somebody wrong song that makes me feel at home? Well, I miss my baby. Well, I miss my baby. Won't you play another somebody done somebody wrong song that makes me feel at home? Well, I miss my baby. Well, I miss my baby. Thank you. Number 7.
Okay, commercial time. I'm going to give a shout out to the Grateful Pet. The Grateful Pet Animal Clinic strives on the ability to save lives and to provide support for extending pets' lives. We will always hold our pets' interests above all else. Next, we have Auto Specialist. Turn to Auto Specialist and the Parts House for all of your auto repair and vehicle maintenance needs. Stop in to let us know how we can help. Thank you to both of these.
That we once knew, so long ago, still make me blue. They say that time is a broken heart. But time has stood still since we've been apart. I've made up my mind to live in memory sometime. It's useless to say, so I just live my life in dreams of
I just live my life in dreams of
Yesterday was a holiday for the Irish. I'm going to kick it off with a couple of songs. If you know the name of the song or do you know the melody, don't holler it out. Just put your hand up in the air if you kind of recognize what it is. And then I'll know that everybody that I'm looking at can hear it. Here we go. Go, Holly. Gotta make a minor adjustment. If these reeds aren't wet, they don't play at all. Let me get this thing warmed
Beautiful job.
You're bad.
I go wait now. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Gotta get this reed wet, dry it out here. I'll wait around here. Let it get a little wet here. Play a little bit. All right, Danny boy. I'm ready.
Go for it.
All right.
Beautiful job. All right.
Again, on Wednesday afternoon, right here in Boulder City at the Senior Center, we have an open jam. Come on over and listen to the good music. If you can sing, we'd like for you to sing or hum or whatever. Just sit there and listen to the good old-fashioned music. Thank you.
Thank all of you guys for coming out. We still do have about an hour left to do a bunch of raffles, some commercials, more food out there. But I want to thank all of our entertainers for coming out today. You guys have been awesome. For all of our rockers, our rollers, our strollers, and all of our sponsors, thank you. Thank you very much.
When the tones drop, going from doing something very calm and relaxed to rushing into a fire when everybody else is coming out is a very unique thing, and it's very rewarding when you can make a difference, when you can hold somebody's hand when they're in their time of need, when you can give that comfort, when you can make a difference. It truly is the most rewarding career that I know of. Boulder City Fire Department utilizes reserve firefighters to supplement their staffing. Annually, we conduct a proficiency school, which is a process that we do to test our incoming cadets. Early on in the process, I try to take the time to come out during their training sessions and meet and let them get to know me as the fire chief. And during that process, I talk to them about what they're getting ready to enter. Even though it's a fairly short proficiency school, fire proficiency school that they go through, there is a lot to learn and a lot to do. And one of the biggest things that I talk to them early on in the process is another requirement is they have to pass the physical agility test, or the candidate physical agility test. It's called CPAT in the fire service. And basically this test has been developed which shows us that they have the physical ability to do the job. And it can be very demanding. And so early on in the process, I walk up and down the line and I tell them, if there's one thing you need to start working on right now is your ability to pass that test. Congratulations to all of you. It was a lot of hard work. I saw all of you working very hard. You participated in many things. Thank you for your support of the fire department, and thank you for your commitment to this program. It's another step in a journey that I hope will take you a long time in your fire service career. I've had a great time so far in mine, and I just want to say thank you for your commitment and congratulations.
everyone. How you doing today? All right. Glad to see you out here. Guess what we're going to do today? We're going to plant a couple trees. Guess what day it is? We're celebrating what? Arbor Day. All right. Well, I'd like to thank the Public Works Department here, all the guys in the green here. Let's give them a big hand. These guys work very hard keeping our parks looking beautiful. Look at the ball fields and the parks and everything. And they're going to help us plant these trees today. Also, I'd like to thank Brock Armentrout. They're going to film it for BCTV. Why don't you wave at Brock over here? Okay? And that comes on BCTV, so you're movie stars now. All right. I'd like to introduce Dave Duncan, who's going to be talking about Arbor Day today. And he has a lot of information. We've been doing this a long time here. And what we want to do is you're young enough where you're going to go through all of elementary school and junior high school and high school, and these trees are going to be your trees now. And so it's very important when you graduate from high school on that field over there, you can look at this tree and say, hey, I remember planting this tree a long time ago. And you know this tree will be pretty big by the time you graduate. So let me turn it over to Dave, and he'll talk about Arbor Day and how important it is, okay?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Mr. Roy, your second grade class, welcome. Mrs. Carroll, your fourth grade class, welcome. Mrs. Carroll, what kind of tree is this right here? What kind of tree is that, Mrs. Carroll? You are correct. The same kind we planted last year. And Mr. Roy, what kind of tree is this? Do you know?
A Western Rosebud?
Western Rosebud, correct. Very good. These are two trees that do well in the desert, and that's why we plant them. This one gets red buds on it, obviously. And this one in the fall of the year, pay close attention to it because it gets bright orange and bright red. Can anybody tell me, trees are very important to us. Can anybody tell me what we get from trees? Yes. Oxygen, very good. Paper, very good. That's right. We wouldn't have books if it weren't for trees. What? Food? Yep, very good. Wood, absolutely. We can use wood for building houses, for camping, and making s'mores. We have lots of uses for wood. We also use them for medicines. And how about you? You're standing in the shade. How about shade? They're great for shade also. We definitely have a connection to trees. When I'm up in the mountains breathing clean air, standing in a big forest of trees, it just seems to make me feel happy. And I know some of you get to go camping, and you usually get to go up into the mountains and experience the same thing. We're a lot like trees. When you're young, like you all are, you're small, and as you get taller and stronger, you grow. And there's an expression, when we grow up. Now, we not only grow up, but trees, they grow also. They just grow a little taller than we do. Trees, they can get scars. I noticed one on this tree, and we can get scars. We're susceptible to diseases and bacteriums, and so are trees. We also need water. We have that in common with trees also. And trees, they may be a little superior to us in one aspect. They regenerate branches and leaves. And if they lose a branch, they have the ability just to grow another one. How cool is that? Pretty cool. When we breathe in oxygen and we exhale carbon dioxide. Now, who knows what trees do with our carbon dioxide? Yes? That's right. They breathe in the carbon dioxide that we exhale, and they breathe out the clean oxygen that we breathe. Trees, they're our greatest source of oxygen. Trees are often called the lungs of the earth. And Our very existence is dependent upon trees. We couldn't exist without them. Trees do an amazing job taking care of us. Shouldn't we return the favor and protect them? Absolutely. Let's hear that again, should we? Absolutely we should. When we're protecting trees, aren't we protecting our future? We certainly are. If we take care of and protect these two trees, not only do they provide us with oxygen for you guys and for me, but also they'll provide oxygen for your children and for your grandchildren. And not only that, they'll outlive us all. Trees are pretty amazing creatures, living, breathing creatures. Someday, wouldn't it be cool if you guys rolled up here with your kids in your car, kids in your very expensive brand new car, and it's your car because you paid attention in school and you guys were very, very successful, so you had a new, very expensive car. If you guys rolled up here with your kids someday, you could tell them, say, way back in 2016, I helped plant these trees. And then maybe you could tell them a little story about just how special and how important trees are to us all. What do you think? Good idea. Cool. All right. Well, that about does it for my speech. Ms. Roy, do you have anything you'd like to add? Okay. All right. We'll turn it over to you. And maybe you can bring him up to the microphone.
Time spent among trees is never wasted. Keep a green tree in your heart, and perhaps a singing bird will come.
Like the branches on a tree, we all grow in different directions, yet your roots remain as one. Learn character from trees. Learn values from roots. Learn change from leaves. Good timbers does not grow with fast. Stronger the wind, the stronger the trees. Stand tall and proud, go out on a limb. Remember your roots. Drink plenty of water. Be connected with beauty. Enjoy the view. Character is like a tree, and reputation its shadow. The shadow is what we think it is, and the tree is the real thing. It would cost $36 trillion to create enough oxygen for us in 6 months. Trees do it for free.
A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know will never sit in.
A tree $250 worth of oxygen. It does 2,000 worth of air pollution control. It adds 31,250 worth of soil fertility and erosion control. It is a home for animals worth $31,250, but doesn't include all the extras like fruit, lumber, or beauty, which is priceless.
Okay, so stay in your order and come over here then. Follow some vehicles. And then once you guys are done, Okay, we memorized some spring poems, and trees are mentioned in a lot of them, and we'd like to share them with you. The first one's called The Wind, and I heard someone make the comment that the stronger the wind, the stronger the trees. We must have really, really strong trees here in Boulder City. Here you go.
I saw you toss the kites on high and blow the birds about the sky. And all around I heard you pass like lady skirts across the grass. A wind a-blowing all day long, a wind that sings so loud a song. I saw the different things you did, but always you yourself you hid. I felt you push, I heard you call, I could not see yourself at all. A wind a-blowing all day long, a wind that sings so loud a song.
Oh, you that are so strong and cold, oh blower, are you young or older? Are you beast of field and tree, or just a stronger child than me? Oh, a wind a-blowing all day long, a wind that sings so loud a song.
Next one's called The Swing.
How do you like to go up and swing up in the air so blue? Oh, why do you think it's the closest thing ever a child can do? Up in the air, over the walls, like this is flying. Birds chirping, cats all over the trees. So I look down in the garden green, down there so brown. Up in the air I go quiet again, up in the air and down. The world is so full of numbers,
Yeah, especially about our trees, huh? Okay, this is Christine. Called March wind, but it could be April wind too.
I come to work as well as play, I'll tell you what I do. I whistle all the live all day. I toss the branches up and down and shake them to and fro. I roll the leaves and floss and roll and set them high. I stir the twigs upon the ground, the frozen earth I swing. I blow the children round and round and wake the flowers from sleep.
This one's clouds. We need clouds, so we have rain for our trees.
White sheep, on a big hill, when no one stops and walks by the hill, and then it glows along the way, white sheep, ready to go.
Okay, last one is called The Elf and the Dormouse.
Under a toadstool, crept away out the rain to shelter himself.
Under the toadstool, sang his leaf, sad, like doing a song. Trembled the wee elf, frightened and yet fearing to fly away lest he get wet.
To the next shelter, maybe a mile, sudden the wee elf smiled a wee smile. Tugged till the toadstool toppled in two, holding it over him gaily he flew. Soon he was safe home, dry as could be. Soon woke the dormouse, good gracious me. Where's my toadstool? Loud he lamented, and asked how umbrellas first were invented.
All right.
Well, let's give a big hand. Great job. Great job. So, you guys ready to come on in and do it? Let's do it. Okay, you're going to help plant the tree, and Dave's going to give you instructions, and then we'll go from there. David?
Hey, you guys. I want you to be extremely careful with the shovels because they are sharp and they can cut toes and fingers. So be very careful when you're using them. We're going to put you 1 or 2 people at a time digging, and as we have you dig, we'll just have you set it outside the hole. And but the word of the day, 2 words of the day, is to be careful. Okay? All right, here, I'll show you how to do it.
Okay, everyone's done it? Okay, everyone, if they step back, you want to take a shovelful? Get a picture of you? Do you want him to take? You want your teacher to take a picture of you? Here we go. Okay. Let's see how big. Oh, look at that one. Good job. All right. Come on, guys. You guys ready? Everyone step back, okay? You guys ready?
Maddie, I want to see next to Maddie. You can be next to No, I can lift them. I know. Pretty. Yeah, you have to get like 3 guys to do that. I get 49.
Y'all did good.
Good job.
Very, very good job.
Everyone step back.
Y'all are official Boulder City.
Hey guys, if you want to finish it off. They're done. We're watching. Can I have your attention? Hey, we'd like to thank you all for participating in the Arbor Day celebration today. Let's give Public Works a big hand for digging the holes and helping out. Excellent work. So remember, 5-10 years down the road, you can always come by here and look at your tree that you planted. This is your tree now, okay? And you can bring your kids and do all that good stuff. But remember, we have to protect our trees, and if you see somebody vandalizing a tree, you have to take care of it and report it, okay? Well, thanks again, and another year down the drain. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you.
And now, another fact of Congress.
What if they had a rule at your school that was mostly good, but was missing something that would make it even better? Wouldn't you like to change or amend it? Well, amendments are an important part of what happens in Congress. A member proposes a bill that gets sent to a committee for hearings. If the committee wants to, they can vote to add amendments to the bill. This can change the original language in very important ways. If passed out of committee, the bill with the new amendments goes to the floor of Congress for action. The full House or Senate then debates this revised bill and often considers additional amendments and sometimes even amendments to amendments. It's all just part of improving the original law so it moves along in the best shape possible.
This fact of Congress is adjourned. And now, another fact of Congress.
Ever hear somebody stating a supposed fact when you know there has to be another side to the story? Well, getting to the truth quite often means that you have to take the time to go beyond one person's opinion and dig around for what others have to say about it. When you hear about an issue or law that you're really interested in, take the time to find out what the other side thinks about it. You may learn some things you hadn't thought of before, and then you can weigh all of that information and come up with your own opinion. Analyzing all the facts and opinions not only makes you a better informed citizen, it might give you an idea of how you can help. That helps make you a great citizen.
This fact of Congress is adjourned. And now, another fact of Congress.
Our country was founded on the principle of balance, that no branch of government could dominate another. For example, Congress is responsible for passing laws, but it's up to the president to okay them. The president nominates judges, but Congress must approve them. Judges can declare laws unconstitutional, but Congress can propose other ways of accomplishing the same thing. The president can veto bills passed by Congress, but Congress can override the veto. This system of power sharing is called checks and balances, but it doesn't stop there. We balance responsibilities between the federal government and state governments. We balance influence between big states and little states. The resulting system might look like a complicated maze of boxes and arrows, but it's really quite simple. That no one part of government should be allowed to get too powerful.
This fact of Congress is adjourned. And now, another fact of Congress.
Our country depends on citizen participation. But if you don't participate, things get messy. Think if you didn't participate at home and you didn't discuss what you wanted. Instead of getting an ice-cold soda, you'd get an ice-cold shower. Instead of playing video games, you'd be playing pinochle. And instead of playing football, you'd get stuck with a doll. If you don't participate, you don't get what you want. How do you participate as a citizen? Write your representatives a letter or send them an email. Visit their office or attend an online meeting. Study up on the issues by following the news and checking websites. Volunteer on a campaign and get your candidate elected. And when you turn 18, you can vote. The key is to find the ways that work best for you and get started.
This fact of Congress is adjourned. And now, another fact of Congress.
Every year, Congress must consider and debate hundreds of very important matters. Imagine what it would look and sound like if the entire Congress discussed each and every topic before it. Well, thankfully, members of both the House and Senate belong to individual committees that focus on a particular subject, like education or the environment. When a member introduces a bill that she would like to see become a law, it is immediately sent to a committee, where it is studied in detail. Committee members hear experts talk about why this particular bill is or isn't a good idea. And committees are tough graders. The vast majority of bills introduced never make it out of committee. So when you think of where the work really gets done in Congress, think committees.
This fact of Congress is adjourned. And now, another fact of Congress. Here's a word about the word compromise, a very important congressional concept. Some people mistakenly think it means giving in or losing an argument. In the case of Congress, where there's a lot of diversity and debate, opposing points of view come face to face almost every day. By compromising, our legislators can move beyond the argument and begin working on the solutions to the problems that come before them. In fact, the idea for Congress to have two chambers was the solution to a major disagreement back in 1787 and has itself become known as the Great Compromise. This fact of Congress is adjourned. And now, another fact of Congress. Have you ever made a quick decision that you wished you'd taken more time to think about? Quick decisions are often not the best decisions, especially when it comes to passing laws that affect all Americans. The U.S. Congress practices what is called deliberation when making their important decisions. Imagine if just one person made all the laws in our country, just doing whatever popped into their head. That's why there are so many steps in the legislative process to make sure that bad ideas don't get passed in the heat of the moment. Taking the time to get the laws right is the most important thing that Congress can do. In fact, deliberation could work for you, too. This fact of Congress is adjourned. And now, another fact of Congress. Back in the early days of our country, almost all of our citizens had come from Northern Europe. When a congressman from those days spoke with his constituency, by and large, he and they looked pretty much the same and also had many shared values. Well, imagine that same member of Congress today addressing his or her constituency. The United States has become a tremendously diverse nation with citizens from all over the world. Americans today have many different jobs, live in a variety of communities, and have different needs and interests. This creates a special challenge for today's members of Congress, as they must govern a population that has vastly different backgrounds and beliefs. Passing laws that take all of us into consideration requires patience and a willingness to seek out and listen to all of the different voices that make up our 21st century America. This fact of Congress is adjourned. And now, another fact of Congress. Our government is like a big three-layer cake. We have local government, state government, and national government, often called federal government. Local government handles local issues like police, water, and building permits. State government handles issues about your state, such as education, healthcare, and recreation. Federal government handles national issues, such as national parks, the military, and space exploration. This system of dividing responsibilities among governments is called federalism. Sometimes who does what isn't that clear, yet this flexibility lets us decide whether a particular problem is best handled in local town halls, in state capitals, or by the men and women in the Congress. This fact of Congress is adjourned. And now, another fact of Congress. Long before there was a Congress or a government, there were 13 colonies of people living along the East Coast, from New Hampshire to Georgia. They came from England and other countries in Europe. Over 2 million people were living here by 1775. Technically, these colonies were under British rule, but they were learning how to govern themselves, and many wanted to start a brand new country. The people who made this possible, who led the fight to freedom and founded our government, are referred to as the Founders. They boldly declared their independence from British rule on July 4th, 1776. They won the Revolutionary War and founded a new nation. And on September 17th, 1787, the United States of America officially started with the signing of the U.S. Constitution. Article 1, Section 1 of the Constitution states, "All legislative powers shall be vested in a Congress which shall consist of a Senate and a House of Representatives." What the Founders set up was a representative democracy, giving each of us a say in how we are governed through our elected representatives in Congress.
Brilliant!
This fact of Congress is adjourned. And now, another fact of Congress.
You may wonder sometimes, who are all these people in Washington and what are they doing? Well, 535 of them are in Congress, representing you and everyone else in the country, which is just as well because there are too many of us to fit in one room anyway. Members of Congress are there to listen to us and to speak for us as they make new laws or legislate. Legislators work in either the House of Representatives or the Senate. The House is more about representing people based on how many live in each state. It has a large number of members to stay in close touch with what people back home want. The Senate is more about representing every state equally, taking a broader national view and making sure that our government doesn't rush into any bad laws. Working together, they play the most important role in our system of representative democracy. Do you know who's representing you?
It's me.
This fact of Congress is adjourned. And now, another fact of Congress.
Everyone knows that Congress makes laws. But just how does a bill, no, not that kind of a bill, but how does this kind of a bill, an idea for a law, become a law? First, a member of the House or Senate comes up with an idea and introduces it as a bill. Then it's carefully reviewed by the appropriate committee in Congress. If the committee approves the bill, it then needs to be passed by both the House and Senate. If they do, it goes to the President for his signature. Only then is a bill officially a law. But it's a difficult process, with less than 10% of bills introduced ever becoming law. It's not a process designed to move quickly. There are various obstacles along the way to ensure that bad ideas don't make it through.
This fact of Congress is adjourned. And now, another fact of Congress.
I'll bet you're one of those kids who thinks, Congress, who needs it? It doesn't affect kids at all, and certainly not me. Well, if it weren't for Congress, that beautiful stream that flows through your town would be a polluted and smelly waterway that no one would like. Instead of traveling quickly and safely on a modern interstate highway for your vacations, you would have to take bumpy old back roads. Rather than visiting one of our great national parks, you'd find yourself at just another strip mall. Are you getting the picture? And when you grow up and go to college, you can thank Congress for providing student loans or for making sure women's sports programs get the same treatment as men's. I'll bet if you did a little digging, you could find a lot more ways that the work of Congress affects your everyday life.
This fact of Congress is adjourned. And now, another fact of Congress.
You've probably heard the saying, you're never too old to learn. Well, here's a new one for you. You're never too young to get involved in your government. That's right, you. But how, you ask? Well, is there a particular issue in your community that you care about? A park that's too dangerous? A river that's polluted? A library that's run down? You'll be amazed how effective kids can be when they put their minds to it. Kids have started petitions, created online action networks, and even testified before legislators. Kid power, you'll never know until you try.
This fact of Congress is adjourned. And now, another fact of Congress. Imagine a group of kids on the playground trying to decide what games to play without any leadership. Add leaders to the group and decisions can be made and things can get done. Congress is no different. It's a large group that needs leadership to get things done. The House of Representatives elects a Speaker of the House, whose job it is to set which bills will be voted on and to maintain order in the House. Both the House and the Senate have what are called the majority and minority leaders. They are chosen by each political party to lead their efforts in each chamber. Perhaps the best title of all goes to the majority and minority whips. Yes, whips. Their job is to make sure that the members of their party line up correctly when voting on critical issues. There are many other powerful people in Congress, particularly those who chair the many important committees. But even so, they still take their cues from the congressional leadership. This fact of Congress is adjourned. And now, another fact of Congress. Voting is the easiest way to participate in our democracy. You just go to the voting booth and pick the best person for the job. Now, some people are voting Scrooges. They think their vote doesn't matter. But if you take a look at history, it tells a different story. In 1845, one vote made Texas part of the United States. In 1920, one vote gave women the right to vote. And in 2000, the presidency of the United States was won by 537 votes out of almost 6 million cast in the state of Florida. That's closer than a three-pointer at the buzzer. That's closer than just catching the school bus. That's closer than the B you just squeaked out in chemistry. If you don't vote, you have no say in what happens to our country. But when you do vote, you'll feel proud that you had a voice in choosing the people who represent you in Washington. This fact of Congress is adjourned. And now, another fact of Congress. What's in a number? Take the number 65. That's how many members were in the House of Representatives in the very first Congress. And each of those 65 was responsible to only 30,000 voters back home. Today, the House of Representatives is made up of 435 members, each of whom has to represent the interests of more than 650,000 people. That means that today's members of Congress have to work much harder to reach their constituents. Of course, when there's so many of us, it's difficult for them to hear what we have to say. That makes citizen participation all the more important. One way to make sure you're heard is to join a group that shares a common interest or goal. That way, many voices become one, and that is hard to ignore. This fact of Congress is adjourned. And now, another fact of Congress. Way back in 1789, people were noticing some things our new Constitution didn't take care of. So the first Congress came up with 10 changes, or amendments, which became known as the Bill of Rights. The First Amendment is important because Congress actually told itself what it could not do. If written using today's language, the First Amendment would say, you can't pass laws that keep people from practicing their religion. You can't pass laws that keep people from speaking their minds or publishing their ideas. And you can't pass laws that stop folks from getting together peacefully to express their views to their people in government. This amendment, plus the others in the Bill of Rights, reassured the nation that the powers of their new government would have limits. As President George Washington said, the amendments strengthened our characteristic rights. This
Hey, how you doing? Hey, girl, Nicole, good luck on the play tonight. You're welcome. What's up, guys? Now you're gonna make sure that you return those on Monday, right? Thank you. Oh, nice. Quit talking. Go ahead, get your water. Come on, let me get your water. Just get out the way.
What do you guys want to do?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
1, 2, ready, go. Gonna pull the stops, gonna make it go. Drop down, gagged and bound, just sitting down and getting nowhere. You're living on a wing and a prayer. Gonna put them things together. You know it's
do you guys want to do now? Okay, now you ready? Now, just like I showed you.
Yeah.
Now push in the clutch and gently shift it in the first gear.
I remember, okay.
Okay, that was good. Now, honey, look this way. Look this way. Honey, hit the gas a little bit more. Hit the gas. Oh, hey. No, I didn't put your hands on the wheel. Hey, honey, it's okay. You're doing great. You're driving. And once you just pull over right here. That's perfect. Brake.
Thank you, Dad.
Look at this guy. What are you gonna do, kid? Go home. It's hopeless. Yeah, dude, do something with your life. Leave. You're looking stupid, man. Give it up.
Dave, Mr. Boss, you're giving a shit with that band. You really need to talk
Hey, Shane.
Welcome back. Our contestants reached the final round, where he's faced with 3 difficult choices. Behind curtain number 1, more alcohol than your body could ever survive. Behind curtain number 2, dangerous, mind-altering drugs. And behind curtain number 3, we have your family, your friends, and your self-respect. All right, Luke, what's it gonna be? Come on, Luke. 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 You want another beer?
It's my sister. Hey, Nicole, isn't your dad supposed to be here?
He's coming. He promised. I trust him.
Campaign ad tested extremely well. I can't tell you how excited.
Sorry, I gotta go.
Showtime, guys. 1 minute.
A plan of attack, like something that maybe the military would use?
It's a plan that my daughter uses to plan for her basketball games.
Strategic plan is how I get my wife and kids in an area that they don't want to be.
It's a document that's strategically done.
A strategic plan would be the implementation of a vision.
A strategic plan is a guiding, fluid document that helps the city plan for its future. The goals and objectives have been identified through community input.
This program is made possible with support from the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission's Department of Parks and Recreation.
Oh, say
We all know the song. It has been ingrained in our national consciousness. But what is the real story of the Star-Spangled Banner?
It would be really wonderful if every American could understand the true story behind how our national anthem came about.
I mean, we had no federal government to back us up, no federal army to speak of, and yet the people of Baltimore decided that the country's future depended on the actions that they would take together and as individuals to defend the great idea of what our country could become.
Join us as we explore the origins of Francis Scott Key's composition and its journey to become one of the most famous songs in the world.
I take a tremendous amount of pride that whenever I'm at events around the country and the Star-Spangled Banner is sung, that I can always smile and know that that's a Maryland song, that this was a story that was written by the heroism and the courage and the actions of Marylanders at a very dark time in our country's history.
From 1812 to 1815, the United States of America engaged in its last armed conflict with England.
1814 is the year the Empire strikes back. They burn public Washington to the ground, the Capitol building, the White House, ruins.
But in the War of 1812, the actions were sometimes extremely violent. Men died, some of them horribly. And it's very difficult, even from this distance, to look back and think what that must have been like. But I actually think it's very important that we try to envisage what those men went through and why they went through it. Why did they perform this duty?
Why should Americans know anything about this guy, Francis Scott Key? He was just an attorney in Georgetown. Well, it turns out that he happened to be present at the bombardment of Fort McHenry, and he also happened to like to write lyrics to songs, and he also did some poetry. And out of all of that came our national anthem.
And welcome Myshio Miller, who will sing our national anthem.
When you hear our national anthem performed at a major sporting event, how close to Francis Scott Key's vision is that performance?
The Star-Spangled Banner is supposed to have been based on a British drinking song.
I've come to believe that all the world is made of stories, and for the longest part of our history, we told and retold those stories, very often with the help of melodies.
We often turn to music when the spoken word or printed word is not enough.
When you're singing, you can say some things that you don't know how to say in words.
The extra edge that music has is the melody that conveys those words.
A song is always easier to remember than just a verse.
With the lyrics and with the poetry put to music so that not only we could remember it more easily, but also so others could retell it and so that we could tell it together.
The Baltimore Colts fight song was written in 1947 for the All-American Conference Baltimore Colts. It was used by 5 different professional football teams in this city. This, next to the Star-Spangled Banner, is the most popular song in Baltimore. The fans know some of the words, but they know the words fight, 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 and they scream it. So that shows you the power of music, just in a football game.
Sometimes we're not even conscious that we've turned to song. When you go to a birthday party, you just sort of expect you're going to sing happy birthday. When you walk into a church or a synagogue, there's a certain kind of music that you expect to happen there. You go to a funeral, you expect the music to be appropriate to that setting.
Music can be very emotional. My father was a musician, and he was in the Navy. He was a trumpet player. And because of that, I've been to more funerals than I would care to remember, where my dad was playing taps. And as young as I was, and through all of those years, it's really had a profound effect upon me. So when my brother died and my father died, and you hear taps, knowing that here my father was some that actually played taps at some of these kinds of events, it's a very emotional time for me. But I find that to be the same way with the Star-Spangled Banner, because I am so interested in the War of 1812, and I really have an appreciation for what went on at that time and how the song really came about, that when I hear that song, I do get chills up my spine.
Once the civil rights movement is in full swing, many different elements are in play. The church leaders of the day knew the power of marching arm in arm with melodies that were familiar from church as well.
In 1968, April of 1968, I worked for WMAR-TV, and I got a call on a Saturday night, come into work, and that was when Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated. And I was at work for 1 week, and didn't realize I would be there that long, and we were put right out into the riots in Baltimore, and to see your city burn is a tragedy.
During a time of strife, it may not be that people consciously know why they fall back on music.
As we were coming down the streets shooting film in those days, you see a church group coming out of a church, and looking at one side, you look to your left, and you see the people coming out. It was Palm Sunday, singing We Shall Overcome. And you look to the other side, and you see people rioting and burning buildings. To me, again, music. It came to music. The rioters stopped, looked over at the people at the church, and just stood there. And the people didn't budge. They said, we shall overcome. They were doing their music of peace.
Music has obviously an emotional connective power that you don't get just with printed words. Key was born during the American Revolution. Music was very much an amateur affair. There were very few professionals. Music was done on such an informal basis. And the context of it, of course, is life is very quiet and very slow and very dull. So there's a strong need for people to teach themselves how to play the fiddle, to be able to accompany an informal dance.
I love the idea of music as a living, breathing, changing thing. One really good example of that is a tune called The Rose Tree. Common song, common tune. It was in The Poor Soldier, a very favorite opera of George Washington's. That became more of a dance tune. And when a fiddler plays a dance tune, the dance might go on for 12 times through the tune, and you play it the 12th time, and you're just getting kind of bored. And you do it another night 12 times, and you start to change it around. And all those extra notes then are added because of the boredom of the fiddle player.
Music is always going to fill a function. In the days of Francis Scott Key, that function was very, very broad. The soldiers marching to engagements. It's the drum that sets the cadence for the march, but it's the fife that gives it color.
We've powder plenty, grape shot too, so have we men to hand them. Of musket balls we have a few, I fear they cannot stand them. Yankee Doodle, beat the drum, Yankee Doodle dandy, and if by day or night they...
You don't always need a musical instrument, though, to have a song. And I think in many cases, in the colonial period and up through the 1812 era, very much music making occurred just by singing.
When Colburn passed the fort below and Ross was past the point, sir, he gave 3 cheers to let them know that he was not behind, sir. Yankee Doodle, beat the drum, Yankee Doodle dandy, and if by day or night they come, they'll always find us handy.
Leading into the early 19th century, there's still a very strong sense of separation between the elite and the rest. The one place you'd find these people together would be the theaters. And in the theaters would be a mixture of straight drama, of ballad opera, presentational dancing, solo songs. In America, much more so than in Europe at this time, the audience takes more and more control over what's performed by calling for Yankee Doodle, by calling for Hail Columbia, by encoring songs, not just once or twice or 3 times, but 5, 6, 7 times. The audience has the apple in hand it will throw if it's not happy.
Let glory proclaim to the hills of the west the triumphs of freedom afar. Our song be Decatur and liberty blessed, huzzah for the brave and the war.
What we see right after the Revolution is the beginning of the professionalization of America's musical industry. We start to see building of theaters. We see an influx of professional printers and composers.
Publishing was very expensive. In Key's day, it was far more expensive to publish a piece, even just a single sheet of music, than it is today by a long shot. It was much easier to print pages of words that could be sung to a familiar tune, as opposed to printing an entire hymnal, so that you could have a collection of word books that were also very popular. As a matter of fact, we know a lot about early performances from word books as well as from the actual music. So it made a whole lot more economic sense to be able to print collections of texts and then indicate which hymn tune they might fit with.
The ballads that tell the stories of great heroes and so forth, many of these were never written down. We'll never know them. It's only the more popular ones, or the ones of greater interest, that at some point a printer puts the words into type and runs off copies. And by, say, 1810, we start to get into the mass production of sheet music. We had been importing it from England and other